Hey, it's Ed here. Today we're taking a look at technical analysis for Bitcoin with Elliott Wave Theory. Let's jump into the charts here and start with a higher time frame macro picture first. Again, the overall idea has been that we've had a count ending at the 69k highs, and then we would be looking for a correction downwards since then. Again, that would be correcting something higher degree, and we would have some very much different targets based on different higher time frame counts, but let's not get confused about that. Let's just focus on the structures from the 69k highs down to current structures that we have here. So let's start with one of the main scenarios where we had this as an ABC. Both these are labeled as a 5-way structure. They could be labeled as a 3-way structures as well, especially this A wave does not really look too perfect with 5 waves. However, this kind of looks more like a 5-way structure in here. Of course, you could be saying that we have this is some kind of 5-way structure like so, creating this as an ABC, but it looks decent as a 5-way structure as well on its own. Third wave, or the C wave, does not get beyond the 1.382 on log and does not even hit the, I think it hit the 0.854 extension of the A wave on arithmetic scale. So again, not a very typical third wave target at least. Now, if we had this as a 3-way structure ending at these lows of June that we had, we would be looking for this as a potential wave W, as we would be creating a X wave here and then another wave Y lower. I'm not going to be even thinking about the targets for wave Y as of yet, because again, I don't think wave X is done here at all. We had one of the scenarios where we had this as a 3-way structure into an A wave, then looking for 3-way structure into B, and now we'd be looking for C wave upwards. This of course could be a WXY as well on its own, depending on what kind of structure we would be getting off of these lows. The 1.618 retracement of this A wave here would be around 14k, so if we go below that, then I don't think this is going to be a valid count anymore. At the moment, based on the smaller timeframes here, I don't see this being very likely to be a C wave. I've seen some people labeling this as a diagonal. Sure, that could happen, but I can't make it be a contracting diagonal, so that would make it again expanding, which is so much more rare. So again, that decreases the probabilities of it significantly. But this is again still on the table, creating this X wave before the wave Y. We can take a look at the wave Y targets or even the wave X targets later on, if this indeed is the pivot, if we are creating something like this later on. Then we had the other scenario where again this would be the same pivot point around the June, and then we would have this as an ABC instead into A wave. This is a bit more strict on the retracement targets, where we would be taking out the retracement of 1.618 of this A wave around the 15k area on logarithmic scale, and 14.3k on arithmetic scale. So it's not as forgiving as the other one. On this one instead, we would be looking for this to create a W, X and Y. Again, this is very much not right look anymore, because again this A wave was so large, it is basically larger than this smaller degree wave W here. Also wave B looks kind of large in comparison. Wave X surely is larger, as we see here. This is the 1-to-1 extension in time, this green. In comparing this X wave to that B, we see that it is okay, and it is actually larger, this green structure, than this smaller degree one here. So in that sense it is all fine, but again, if we are comparing this W wave against this wave Y, we can see that there is definitely a problem with the symmetry. So that's why I don't really like this too much. Then we had other higher time frame structure, a different one from the highs, which could say that we have this as a WXYXZ already complete at these current lows that we had around 22nd of November. This again would be correcting something previous to it, so the rise up, and could be also done, or this would be the first structure of being that correction. So this could be basically doing something like that as well. Again, this is a bit different, as this would be a correction at these lows, and we don't need another leg downwards after a partner leg upwards. And that brings us to the other scenario where we have this as a 5-way structure, either complete in here, or it would be taking quite a bit longer still. Wave 3, as mentioned before, does not reach the targets that we generally have for third waves. So again, take this with a pinch of salt as for now. We had a couple of different ideas here for the smaller time frame. Let's go to 4 hours so we can see the structures again. So this was the high around August for the wave 4, and then we would have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wave 1, ABC into wave 2. Again, I don't think this is a diagonal, as I don't allow diagonals to have flats inside, and this is a flat here. I've seen some people ending their count at these lows as well. If that fits, go for it. I do think that this fits a bit better like so, but again, with the diagonals, I don't accept flats at least yet, because I don't have enough information or data about that being the case. I feel like there is always another way to label, so I wouldn't need to be labeling this as a flat for a diagonal, because again, in here we have still this possibility of having this as a 1, 2, 1, 2 instead of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's why I don't really expect that to be the case at this very moment, at least. But yeah, that is that. 1, 2, 1, 2, this is the most bearish count I got. I don't really have targets for this yet. We do have this scenario where we would be either having this as here in wave 1 or in these lows. Doesn't really matter. The expectation was that we would be getting a wave 2 here, which would be retracing around the 50% to golden pocket. We did get that, and basically now we would be looking for downwards. At the moment, this does look kind of impulsive to the downside. However, we have been consolidating sideways for the remainder of the previous week whole. So we'll see how this is going to go, and we'll dig into that later on as well. And of course, as mentioned previously, the other scenario where we would have the 5th wave done at these lows here is possible. However, it is very very much unlikely in my opinion, because again, this would be making a very weird looking structure in here. I don't think that looks too good as a 5-way structure. Of course, it is possible, not saying anything against that. So let's take a look at the very much smaller time frames. From these lows, as we've seen, quite a few of our accounts are ending at the 15.5k lows. And since then, the main idea is this one, where we had this as a WXY. We had a couple of different variations of this. However, they ended up at these highs. So again, as we have had this correction coming down quite fast, thinking that, okay, we are correcting something previous, or we are creating something new, or a continuation of previous trend. As these have come down with such a force and momentum, it is most likely that this is done as a 3-way structure in here. So with this kept in mind, we have a couple of different ways of looking at this downfall. This is the least or less likely version of it, where we'd have this as an ABC, then ABC here. Why I don't like this is just because, again, the retracement here is going beyond the 1.618. It is a wick for sure, and probably a liquidation wick, taking out the lows that we had here. And obviously people are using this as some kind of order block, and we got a liquidation wick here, and yeah, it filled quite a lot of price here. So I'm still keeping this around, not really putting any kind of pressure on this one, but the idea is that we would be creating this as an ABC. Although it is very extended on the B wave, we still had this divergence that we would be expecting on any kind of expanded diagonals, or expanded flats, sorry. After C wave, we could have this as 3 waves, and then 3 waves up, and then that would be a correction that could do something like that, correcting this structure over here, or sorry, in this scenario, this structure over here, before creating another leg downwards. I don't think this is very likely. The expectation on the higher time frames is not really this one, so keep that in mind. This is the main scenario. where we had this as a 5-way structure going from the highs. Either this is a 1-2 here, or this is the 1-2 here. It doesn't really overall matter. We do have this divergence from these lows here, third and fifth, or thirds of thirds, having the divergence against the lows here, and that is something that we expect. At the moment, I've labeled it where this is a wave A. We could have some kind of a partner leg later on for this one, which is the expectation, as this is an A wave where we have not hit a partner leg target for it yet. So after that one, I think this definitely looks the best as a 3-way structure into wave W. Wave W is just because, again, we have consolidated so much in sideways fashion that generally these sideways structures are wave X's or wave B's. In this scenario is wave X here of a smaller degree and wave B of this degree. So again, it fits very well into this idea. At the moment, it does feel like we could have either have a partner leg missing for this A wave. The issue that I have here at the way I've labeled this currently is that we did not hit the 0.618. So the idea could be that we have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, getting us to beyond the 1.618 here. Or this wave C is actually created with this kind of structure here. We can hit this target here with the 0.618. So there is a possibility where this C wave is actually here. So instead we would have this as the first structure, like so, instead of ending at here. At that point, again, we would need a partner leg basically for this whole structure later on. Not really sure how I want to be labeling this mess afterwards. At the moment, I've just labeled it as a 3-way structure in here in these lows, as RSI had the lows there. Not really analyzing it too much. I feel like that would be a waste of time. We have been just ranging, and until we take out some of the highs or lows, those are going to be giving us some kind of information what to do next. At the moment, I'm expecting us to break these highs, either create a liquidity grab for this kind of structure from here. So we would be taking out these lows. People have stop losses beyond here. We would be creating a wick coming down, and either we would be looking for this wave Y here, or taking out these lows first before these highs and then going higher. Couple of different ways to look at the market for sure. Again, these are very much of 3-way structures, so I would be definitely expecting some kind of liquidity taking on either side, and then continuation to the opposite side again, and then again liquidity taking after or below these lows or the highs, of course, depending on which way we go. But overall, what I'm expecting is that we have not had a partner leg for this structure overall. So that is still what I'm looking. That is again from the pivot of wave B to the C. Most likely we could be taking out these lows of wave W here. Why? Is because we have again created this very sideways range, and I do think that this fits the best. On RSI, this is very clear as a 3-way structure. Looks very decent in there. So that's why I was expecting another wave Y here. 1-to-1 in time, comparing this wave W for this wave wave Y here, would be around 28th of December. So that is the main area. I would be looking for as in a time comparison. Again, 1-to-1. If we are to pivot from here, current highs around 16.4k, and only after that we would be looking for that pump up higher with that C wave. Early long markets or market opens here probably would get wrecked, and if they have tight stop losses, especially below here, we could easily get that liquidity there and then roll over, take the liquidity from down here, and only then get that up move. But that is the plan that I have, and the plan that I'm going to go until that breaks. If we break these highs or these lows at the moment, I would be turning into this instead. But until that point happens, I don't think anything strives me around away from this count. Expectation is definitely upwards overall. But I think that is the macro to micro in today's video for Bitcoin. If you again enjoyed and want to learn more about Elliott Wave, there is a trading course of the basics on my Patreon if you're interested and new to Elliott Wave. But again, I would appreciate the likes and link to my free Discord server as well on the description. So check those out. Thanks for watching and see you on the next video. Bye bye.